Good morning, I'm Amanda Balaguer. It is Friday, January 7th, 2011.
And I'm Bob Hines. Today on the KFAI Weekly News, we're going to take a close-up and personal look at the problem of sexual abuse of children by some members of the clergy.
SNAP is the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests. They are an independent, non-profit support group for women and men wounded by religious authority figures. They are not connected with any church or church officials. Bob Schwiderski is the state director of the Minnesota SNAP chapter. He has been an advocate for sexual abuse victims since the early 1990s. Schwiderski is motivated by his own experience of abuse at the hands of a priest in Hector, Minnesota, where he grew up. From the age of 7 to 11, he was sexually abused by a diocesan priest, as was his older brother. He supports the efforts of abuse victims to speak out and force the church to face the realities of sexual abuse. John Purdy is also with us. John was the first survivor to bring a fraud lawsuit against Raymond Rose and the Christian Brothers. John was raped while a student at De La Salle High School in Minneapolis. And since John's lawsuit, 21 additional fraud suits have been filed, with most of them recently settled. Diane Plocker is the mother of survivor Sean Plocker, abused by Archdiocese of St. Paul, Minneapolis priest Father Joseph Wajda. And Tom Mayewald was abused by St. Paul, Minneapolis Archdiocesan priest Father Ryan in Hastings, Minnesota. So welcome to the program. Just to give a little background, Brother Charles Anthony Raymond Rose, this is for John Purdy's case, Raymond Rose was accused of molesting boys at 5 Catholic schools and a church retreat since the 1960s. He's accused of molesting dozens of kids in California, Wisconsin, Illinois, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Florida. Rose taught at Cretin High School in St. Paul from 1968 to 1972. In December, the Associated Press reported that brother Thomas Johnson, who is now in Rome working as the number 2 Christian Brothers leader in the world, misled state authorities and enabled Rose to get a taxpayer-funded job where he molested at least one boy. The church official also lied in writing to a victim, claiming that Rose, quote, had been forbidden from contact with anyone under 18, end quote, when he was working at a juvenile facility. SNAP has also brought attention to the case of Jim Keenan, who was recently sued by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Archdiocese to pay $64,000 for the church's legal fees. Archbishop John Nienstedt later announced the suit was dropped. So,
well, good morning and welcome to all of you, and appreciate your joining us this morning. I just want to make a note here while we're talking about clergy sexual abuse, primarily this morning as it involves the Roman Catholic Church. Other church organizations, other denominations have also experienced some of the same problems. And Bob, you and I were talking before the program this morning about the problem in the Baptist church, especially in the southern part of the United States, where they're a more prominent group, correct?
That's correct, Bob. The same type of problems that we have here with church leadership are mimicked by many in the Baptist communities and other faiths in other parts of the country.
And other denominations,
That's
other church organizations and groups. The problem, though, of abuse by priests in the Roman Catholic Church has been going on for some time, but authorities didn't really address the issue or come forward and admit to any of it until long after a lot of the abuse had occurred, correct?
They still haven't admitted to it.
Well, in some cases, I mean, they have acknowledged it. There have been payments, but I know that there is one situation where I think it's the Minneapolis-St. Paul Archdiocese is suing a person for legal fees, for the church's legal fees?
Yes.
Explain that.
In addition to the Archdiocese of St. Paul, Minneapolis, the Diocese of Winona is doing the same for the same perpetrator, same victim.
Okay.
And the reason for that is Tom Adamson was initially assigned to the Diocese of Winona and then transferred up here. Mm-hmm. The day after your coverage of our activity at the Archdiocese, we were down in Winona because that diocese also filed a suit for reimbursement of their expenses to challenge the legal rights of James Keenan.
Now, let me ask those of you who have been abused. Can you give us just a little a bit of history or background as to what happened, and how have you worked on recovery from the experiences that you had, Tom?
Yes, I was sexually abused in 1961 by Father Ryan. I had been an altar boy for about 6 months, and one day Father decided that he wanted me to serve Mass with him on a Saturday morning. And back in those days, there was 2 Catholic Masses every morning.
Sure.
He already served the later one. When we were done with Mass, he asked me to help him move some boxes that in the basement, and he got me alone, and after I was done with my work, he came in the room and forcefully raped me. I tried to get away, and that created anger. His anger came out, and his way of dealing with it was to crush my testicles and just stop me instantly. And
did he threaten some type of ongoing violence against you?
No,
if you reported it, or
basically, I just stopped being an altar boy, and everybody wanted to know.
Want to know why?
Why? Yeah, it's the hardest job in the world to quit is being an altar boy, because everybody, like, you can't quit. You have to.
Right.
You have to be altar boy.
You have to continue to.
Why would you quit?
Yeah.
So I actually came forward after a few weeks and told my 5th grade nun what happened to me, and it started a little chain of reaction. I thought the police would get involved, but they never did. The other priest came and started mentally manipulating my mind. He'd come out in recess and take me aside and talk to me and tell me, I believe you, Tom, but if you go to the police, Father Ryan,
is going to be in trouble,
and everybody will know what he did to you. All the boys and girls will know. So their play was to get me to go to the church facility and talked about that.
Do you mind my asking how old you were at the time? And
I was 11 years old.
And did you speak to your parents about it?
Yes. And a couple of months went by, and they had a secret meeting in the school, and I went before these people, and they told me my story was unbelievable.
Now, the church also has had a history of moving clergy when there have been accusations made, right, to another area where they could continue to perpetrate the offense, right?
Yes, that's what happened in my son's
Diane?
case.
Okay.
Father Wetter had been a parish priest at Roseville for quite some time, where there was incidents of abuse, and he came into the Waconia parish as an interim priest, during which time my son was in confirmation class, and he was perpetrated at that time, but he kept his secret until just about 5 years ago. He came forth with his secret. In the meantime, he's dealt with very heavy addiction problems to alcohol and such, and family life has been less than favorable throughout the last 6 years for sure, with his use of alcohol and a downfall with him trying to keep his secret, and yet not quite knowing how to expose his secret appropriately.
Okay, we are at the home of Father Joseph Whita, known child molester. The people that you see here have been doing a neighborhood awareness alert, passing out flyers to let the neighborhood know that the dangerous man lives here, a known child sex offender. Diane, why are you doing this today?
Because this has left a horrendous emotional scar on my son. And this man remains free without any consequences of his behavior.
Ken, why are you here today?
I'm here for the same reason. He has basically ruined our son's life by his actions. And to add injury to insult, he also officiated my mother's funeral. And he took advantage of our son at a time when he was very vulnerable because he had been very close to my mother, his grandmother. And he sought refuge and comfort in Father White-Eye. He became a predator and violated my son.
I'm Sean's aunt, Donna, and Sean's confided in me just to help him, told me a lot of what has gone on in his life. I'm here for support of him, my sister, Ken, and Sean's sisters, and their entire family. It's torn their whole family apart. It's devastating to see the pain that this family is in. It's got to stop. Not only this family, but every family that's out there that has had a child abused.
Everybody that you have seen here are victims of the sexual abuse of Sean. You have the mother, the father, the aunt. You've heard about the siblings. You have family friends. They have all been victimized. They, in essence, are also survivors, in this case of clergy sexual abuse. You Joseph?
Yes.
Hi, Joseph. My name is Bob Shadursky.
Yeah?
I'm the SNAP director, Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests.
Yes.
And I'm filming you. First, you want to talk a little bit?
About what?
Well,
I saw you a note left that,
yeah, we notified the neighborhood
Yeah?
that you have a history of sexually abusing children.
Well, that's inaccurate. I mean, I've been accused, but I'm not.
Well,
No.
what about Sean?
Sean?
Sean Plucker. I believe his mom and dad stopped by and visited you a couple weeks back.
Yeah, but I don't,
No.
You had mentioned, and John Purdy too, I don't know, but you had mentioned that the priest had taken you aside, you were alone with him. Obviously, there were other altar boys serving in that parish. Have you ever had any conversations with any of them? Did any of them experience, similar situations to or experiences that you had?
Well, it's kind of curious you said that because I was the third altar boy that day, and I didn't know why I was even there, Mm-hmm. And then when we got done, we were putting everything away. The other two smirked and said, "You get to be Father's special boy today," and I had no idea what they meant. And I'm sure there was widespread abuse, but it's very hard for a survivor to come forward and break his whole life up and to deal with this. And I think most people, most of the survivors from Father Ryan are still hiding in the silence.
So, Tom, you were telling us that you were present at a meeting and that you stood up and you were basically told by, was it church authorities or people at the school that your story was unbelievable. What happened then?
Well, that hurt more than being raped because here I believed in these people. I trusted them. Father Ryan was obviously evil. But these people in the church I don't know if it was even an official board, if they had them, but it was the gathering of some people that were in the church that wanted to cover it up.
Yeah. Bob, did you have something you wanted to add?
There's an issue that we have to put into perspective, and that is when you're a child, the whole cognizant development stage is not the same. Bob, you used the word, did you report? Mm-hmm. We as adults know the logic of reporting and how to fight when we report. Mm-hmm. When you're a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old child, that whole issue of report is not part of our cognizant development yet. Mm-hmm. Or they can take a child into an adult setting environment and play these mental games, talk him down, and shut him up. Again, we have to remember a child does not have the cognizant development. They still think Santa Claus, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck may be real. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.